Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be kind of doing a character breakdown, but also kind of not quite doing a character breakdown. Um, in honor of the second anniversary of OUTERPLANE, I decided I was going to do a little bit of a different thing. I read both of the updates in the previous video, and in that video I had mentioned that I was going to read Omega Nadja afterwards, and that's because Omega Nadja I think is going to be such a unique character that I think she kind of deserves her own video, but at the same time, the other video was kind of getting a little bloated with all the other information. So I figured talking about a character would be better to be done by itself, because now you guys, if you really only give two shits about the character, then you can skip directly to this video instead and call it a day. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So this is going to be Omega Nadja, a new Demiurge character, qualifier Demiurge character. She is going to be a Dark Defender Phalanx, which means that she's gonna be the same qualification as Demi Drakon. However, she is going to be Dark Element instead of Light. Her first skill that I want to talk about is going to be very interesting. So her S1, Feeding Frenzy, attacks an enemy and increases the priority of the caster by 20%, has a 50% chance to reduce the target's speed for one turn. This skill's damage increases in proportion to max health rather than attack. So attack is not going to be that helpful for her. You definitely want to be building HP instead. However, you probably are still going to be wanting to give a little bit of attack if we know anything about HP plus attack. Characters. However, this says the skill's damage increases in proportion to max health rather than attack, which means you realistically are not going to want any attack. If you can minimize that, you should. So yeah, a 50% chance to reduce the target speed for a turn is actually kind of nuts. Being able to slow something down by 50%, or being able to slow something down in PvP and PvE is kind of wild. I mean, I can't think of any other character that does that other than characters. I'm trying to think of characters who slow them down. The only one that comes to my head is Base Dahlia with her S3. But other than that, I think this is the only other character that reduces speed, which is kind of nice. With her burst one, increase reduced speed chance by 50%, so you can get a 100% chance to reduce speed. At burst 2, grants irregular infection plus one turn to the enemy with the highest speed, ignores immunity, and is irremovable. I don't know what irregular infection is. I'm sure we'll find out. At level 3, it becomes an enhanced attack, increases skill range to hits everything. So you can hit everything, reduce their speed, that will ignore immunity and is irremovable, plus give them irregular infection. And then on top of it, it grants a barrier plus 2 turns to all allies proportional to her health. So you get that S3, you're crippling everything on the board that isn't yours, giving yourself a buff, and then gives irregular infection. That's kind of nuts. I like that. Excuse me. Okay. So this is the Species Extinction Protocol. This is her S2. The passive effect reduces damage taken by allies with a barrier. So when she gives her allies a barrier, it reduces the amount of damage they take as well. That's super helpful. Taking a little sip of water. Reduces damage dealt by targets inflicted with irregular infection and has a 100% chance to counterattack when hit. So we were talking about the irregular infection up here. You hit the S3, everything gets irregular infection, and those things will do less damage to things with a barrier, and it will reduce their damage if they have irregular infection. And I believe she'll get a 100% chance to counterattack when hit, which is going to be kind of nice. The triggered effect when attacking targets inflicted with irregular infection on the caster's turn activates an additional attack on all enemies. After the additional attack reduces priority of targets inflicted with irregular infection by 50%, this skill's damage increases in proportion to max health rather than attack. So you are crippling them, you are making your team harder to take damage, and then you're also getting the ability to counterattack when hit. Wow, that's kind of nuts. And then on top of that, you're reducing the priority of everything with irregular infection by 50%. That is nutty. Not even gonna lie, that's kind of nuts. End of Protoform, her S3. Attacks all enemy. Hold on, there it is. Attacks all enemies has a 100% chance to inflict taunted on the target for one turn. and when attacking a boss, deals 8% of the boss's max health as fixed damage. Then grants a barrier to all allies for 2 turns, and grants irregular infection to the enemy with the highest speed for 2 turns, ignores immunity, and is irremovable. Barrier strength increases proportional to the caster's max health. The skill's damage increases in proportion to max health rather than attack. That is nuts! A little star here. Irregular infection at the start of a turn reduces the duration of the caster's buffs by 1 turn and reduces the duration of debuffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Can only apply to 1 member of the team. When the effect is granted to another target, the effect on the initial target is removed. Removed when the caster dies, irremovable. So apparently we can't hit everything with irregular infection. We can only get one thing with it, and it's going to be the thing with the highest speed, which is going to be kind of nice because of the speed reduction that it gives. But if that's the case and you're able to reduce the duration of your opponent's buffs and then reduce the duration of debuffs on yours, that's going to be so fucking helpful, because there are so many teams in PvP right now, especially, that are run like Gnosis Beth. This is just going to be a nice little way to kind of deal with that with irregular infection, which is going to be kind of nice. Whew. Okay, her chain passive. So she's just a chain companion, not a starter or finisher. Damage dealt by skill chain attacks with this caster increased proportional to max health instead of attack, and after attacking recovers the caster's and the next skill chain caster's action points by 25. So you definitely want to put her in the middle. If you have a finisher, definitely want her right before that finisher. That way you can give them a little bit extra AP. And at 3 stars, she gets burst level 2, which is what you'll get her as. At 4 star, grant irregular infection plus 1 turn to the enemy with the highest speed. So that's just going to happen immediately, which is going to be why you want her at 4 star almost immediately. At 5 star, she gets plus 50 AP at the start of the battle, and she gets plus 40 effectiveness, which is kind of nice. I mean, that's going to help make sure that those debuffs stick. And then at 6 star, plus 50% damage dealt by allies to targets inflicted with irregular infection. When irregular infection effect activates, reduce the duration of the buffs and debuffs by 2 turns instead of the 1 turn. That's actually kind of crazy. You definitely want to get her for 6 stars if you are far along in the game. Like any kind of content creator, anybody who basically has every other character at 6 stars and is just kind of sitting on their ass for this one. Definitely want to get her to 6 stars if you're going to be tryharding the game. If you're free to play, realistically, you only need to get her to 4 star. However, if you get her to 6 star, I feel like she's going to do some crazy shit with World Boss, in my opinion. Okay, so her exclusive equipment, the Road of Endless Hunger. I like the name. The main stat reduces light damage taken by 20%. Of course, the unique effect, she gets just plus 100% effectiveness. So that's going to help make sure those debuffs land again. The irregular infection. However, a lot of them are irremovable and ignores their resilience. So I don't exactly know why you need that much effectiveness. But if you get it to EE10, she gets plus 35% HP, which is really, really nice, especially because all of her barriers are proportional to her HP. So you're going to be increasing her HP and in turn increasing the capacity of all the other barriers. It's going to be really nice. Remember, she'll not be added to normal recruit drop rate up of a different hero or demiurge recruit after the drop rate up ends. The festival hero may reappear in the same or a similar form in the future. So just know you'll probably won't see her for a little bit. I was hoping to see Gnosis Dahlia come back again. Didn't see that. I'm expecting to see Beachside or Gina come back. Hopefully we see her come back. If not, so be it. I only have her at 4 star right now, which is kind of why I wanted to get her to 6 stars, but that's okay. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys stuck around for the whole thing. I really appreciate all the amazing support that you guys have given me, and I am super pumped up for this update. I am going to do everything in my power to make sure I have a decent, really good video for you folks. Talking about Omega Nadja immediately, as soon as I possibly can. I don't know how long this maintenance update is going to take. I might not be able to get around to it until tomorrow morning, is when I might be able to do everything for her, for Omega Nadja, unfortunately, but I also can't do anything about that. That might just be what we end up needing to do. And without further ado, I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching again. All your support is super awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.